There I am. Woo!
All right.
Hey,
This is working. You look amazing.
trying to, quaff the dew for you, hair and makeup.
So I know where you are right now, actually, because I watched one of your an interview with you. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's a great backdrop, great background for you.
Really?
Yeah, it's on Facebook.
I did an interview on Facebook?
You put it on Facebook.
You did? What did we
Yeah.
put on Facebook?
I don't know. It lights and everything, and
Oh, that.
yes.
Yeah. Were you able to see in that video that I posted all of the backdrop of all my All-Star balls?
Uh-uh.
I should have, Nathan, you know what? At some point I should highlight that because I haven't saved a lot of memorabilia from my career.
Uh-huh.
But the one thing that I did create a collection of is every single limited edition All-Star ball of every city I've ever worked at.
It's funny. It's funny that you say that because I kind of do too. But you probably got yours differently than I did.
Oh, for sure. I got mine legitimately.
Yes. No, and I'll admit this right off the bat here, and I'll deny it later on. Yeah, I always end up with a limited edition All-Star basketball. Somehow, some way, I'm coming home with one. Yeah. And just so you know, we're never given one as mascots.
Well, no one is really given one, to be honest with you. So let's just say that I made it an effort for me to get mine.
I love it. I think I've only been handed one once. And I've been to what? I think I've been to, I was asked this the other day. I've been to probably 20 All-Star games.
I think I have a collection. Well, no, I have a collection overall of 30 balls, but not all basketballs. I would say I have about probably close to 20 basketballs, starting with the Phoenix All-Star game in 1995.
Oh, I was at that one. That was a great All-Star game. Yeah.
That was my second year working for the Suns.
So I have to tell you real quick one story in particular about an All-Star game ball. So New York, one of my biggest All-Star games, dunk contest, all that. The Gorilla. Speaking of the Gorilla brought out this huge Empire State Building thing that he bought.
I remember this one.
Or built. Yeah.
I helped him build it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we have to get into all this. So, and we're getting into stories before I even introduce you here, but real quick. So yes, I ended up with a ball in my bag. I mean, I've perfected this, oh my gosh, I ended up with one. I don't know how it got in my bag type of thing. So, but anyways, I come home and my in-laws were visiting one day, and I come, or I don't know, shortly after that, I come home, and here are my brothers-in-law outside
using it
on the street. On the street. There's a hoop out. Yeah, there was a hoop in our little cul-de-sac there on the street, completely torn up.
Yeah, that's like my niece and my nephew come over. My nephew's like, he calls me Fifi. He's like, Aunt Fifi. He's like, I love all your balls. And he's playing with them outside. And I'm like, no.
no. Step away from the balls. Hey, so, all right, let me introduce you here real quick. Felisa. Today I have Felisa Israel on here. Woohoo. Felisa and I go way back. She's awesome. Now, just so everybody knows, she is not a professional mascot and has not been one, but has worked with the best and got her start in the NBA, as I understand it. And I want you to kind of elaborate on this. That in Phoenix with the Gorilla, and I don't know if you were in the NBA before that for any length of time. You couldn't have been because you would have been like 5 years old. But
no, I was prepping for my time in the entertainment world. At that time, at that time, it was the #1 party school in the country called Arizona State University. So I was just getting
ASU.
ready. I was just getting ready. Now they're #1 in innovation and the business college and all of this, but back then in the 90s, got me ready.
Yes, yes, and ASU produced some of the best mascots as well.
Yes,
So,
they
yes,
did.
as in, yeah, the gorilla, the hornet at the time with Michael Zurillo, and
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
yeah, and then a couple others too as well. So, yeah, Eric McMahon, I believe went there.
They did have I know that they were also well known for their gymnast
Hmm.
department, which is where at that time a lot of mascots, really great mascots came from.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
They won national championships back then and all that. So, yeah,
Yeah. And
amazing school, but
I learned quickly about what was it? NCA, UCA, UDA, National Cheerleader Association, United Dance, like all of these. And I was like, once I understood that like amazing mascots came from the gymnast world, oh, I started like exploring all kinds of worlds that had gymnasts and cheerleaders and anything like athletic, but didn't like wasn't the forefront of athleticism really. But knowing that that was some of the tricks that needed to be in the suit to really make the suit come alive.
yeah, yeah. Well, there's a whole nother world here, and we explore a lot of that right here on Between the Fur.
Yeah, I'm
But
in, baby. Let's do it.
yeah, so okay, so you were with the gorilla as an assistant? Okay, no, wait, let me just tell a little bit more
First of all,
about
the
yeah.
gorilla was with me. I was the gorilla was with me.
Excuse me. Yes. Already you're picking up on the Felisa attitude and professionalism. I love it. So, Felisa, I know Felisa through the NBA, and Felisa used to work uh, as a representative in, as far as I was concerned, a representative for the NBA. Uh, she represented mascots in a way, and then also evaluated teams and
Fan experience.
yes, yes, yes. And whenever Felisa was coming to town, it was, we have Felisa in the building tonight. So everybody, let's really put on our, best show, best foot forward. Come on, team. Well, let's show the NBA. It was the NBA. Let's show the NBA what we do here. So, yeah, she always had us on our toes, and
Yeah, but let's just talk about what team specifically referring to?
an NBA team.
Randy?
We'll just put it that way because I
Okay,
don't
well, if
really
that's the
reveal
case,
who I am,
sure. If
what
that's
team I work
the
for.
case, then I will generically state that there was a lot of teams that would respond that way, right? They would be like, oh, Felisa's coming from, the league, right? And she's coming to evaluate us. And I would have to evaluate all of the different entertainment elements and then report my findings, whether they be best practices or whether they have areas of improvement or whatever the case may be, back to the league. And ultimately at that time, the commissioner, David Stern, right?
Right.
But then there were some teams, and I know this better than anybody because I was one of the lucky ones that had the team experience and the league experience. So there weren't a lot of people at the league at that time from teams. So teams, I know the mentality of teams and I know how they viewed the league. And there was some rebellion, right? Like, who are
Mhm.
you to come in and tell me how to do my job? You don't even know what I do. And it's
We
being
didn't have that attitude at all. We didn't think
um
that at all.
well, okay, so that's like some
Yes,
teams,
we did.
because they knew me and they knew that I came from a team, they would intentionally either put me on the kiss cam and just embarrass me. I remember who did that to me. Oh. Washington. It was Washington, DC at that time. They put me on the kiss cam and I planted something because I knew, first of all, teams would do that all the time. They'd always put me on the kiss cam and I would plant things on purpose. Like I remember once I was sitting next to I brought my girlfriend and then it was my guy friend who was living in DC at the time, working for XM Radio. And next to him was my girlfriend, another friend of mine in DC. So we were sitting there and I knew that I just had a feeling. And so I said, okay, you guys, this is what we're going to do. So basically the kiss cam came, they shot it on me. He and I go to kiss each other. Like he was going to kiss me on my cheek or whatever. Right. Mm. And then she slaps my hand away when I go to grab it. She slaps my hand away. She turns him around and she plants one on him. The whole crowd, and I'm like, what? Oh my God. And I start yelling at them and the whole crowd goes crazy. And it was so funny. But then there were some other teams that you may or may not know of that knew that I was coming and they just like to screw with me, on purpose. And one night they had a theme night. And I didn't know what the theme was. All I know is I just saw a bunch of vegetables running around the court. And it was people in like a carrot outfit and a celery outfit and all of these things. And of course, the game ops director thought he was hysterical. And I'm like, Harlan.
Let's talk about Harlan for a second. But yeah, go ahead. You bring him up.
One of my favorites. He was one of my favorites. Because he was such a creative, out of the box thinker, but he just please, isn't that funny? Isn't that funniest? And I'm like, I don't even know what it means. What does it mean? Like, is there a health and wellness night, or are you trying? Is there a theme here? He's like, nah, it's just vegetables. They're just running around the court, and I was like, all right, Harlan.
That sounds like Harlan. I used to work with Harlan, as you know, but so people listening know, I used to work with Harlan. He used to direct our games, and then he's been around the league a little bit. Yeah, that's funny. What I appreciated about you once I got to know you is that you got it. You knew that teams, what teams go through, and you got the entertainment side of things. You had a sense of humor, and it wasn't, you weren't some, corporate person. Yeah. So,
don't forget. So I was not the assistant of the gorilla. I was the boss of the
gorilla.
And the reason that I'm emphasizing that is not because I'm boasting from an ego standpoint. It's because I've risked my job numerous times for him and because of him.
Well, that is what that's what a good boss does. And I love that. I love that about you, and you have stories about him that I just, I want to, and I guess I did misspeak, but I do, I'm going to clarify a little bit. When I talk about assisting and everything, it is really, the mascot thing you get, okay, because you worked with the gorilla, one of the best of all time. Yeah. So, and you put so much into his program, but it's helping him be successful.
I have a great story.
Tell me.
Are we ready for story time?
Oh, let's tell me. Yeah. Story time.
So one of my favorite ones was one of the riskiest ones, right? And I have a plethora of stories about the gorilla. Oh my God, now I'm thinking of another one that you'll think would be hysterical. But this one that stands out, are you a golfer?
Am I a what?
Golfer.
Oh, no. No, I'll hit the ball, but.
Do you know who Phil Mickelson is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, another ASU great, by the way.
Oh, didn't know.
So Phil was this was in the late 90s, and Phil was he was sitting courtside. It was a big game. It was I don't know if it was ESPN or I think it was at that time it was an NBC game. It was a Sunday game, and we knew that Phil was going to be sitting on the court for that game. My boss, who was the big boss, he was the chief marketing officer. He was in France. He was out of town, out of country. And I remember the gorilla. He came to me and he's like, Felisa. He's like, Phil Mickelson wants to dunk. He's like, I want him to dunk at the game on Sundays. And I was like, Phil Mickelson, does he know how to dunk? I'm like, he's a golfer. There's not a lot of athleticism in golf, right? And he's like, please just let me work with him. And I swear I could get him to dunk. And I said, and I, being the creative that I am, creativity is key for me all the time. That's just who I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I want to empower this guy. I don't want to like limit his creativity. I want him to feel, he was so excited. Like, everything about him was so excited, when he came to me with this idea. And I go, is this the first time that Phil's ever wanted to dunk? And he's like, no. He's like, he tried it before, but, Harvey, who was my boss, wouldn't let him because of liability issues. And I'm like, what makes you think that I'm going to... He was in like the height of his career. God forbid he, dunks and hurts himself. Like I go down in history as the one that killed his career. But I said, you know what? Why don't you work with him a little bit and let's see what he's got. Let's see his skills on the practice court, and then we'll make an executive decision.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, oh, okay, great. He got all excited, And so Saturday morning, I go down to the practice court, and he's like, Fleece, we're all ready. We're good. We're so good. And I was like, okay. And I saw the trampoline like in front of the hoop.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, he's working. And next thing you know, Phil, he's like, all right, Phil, let's do it, man. Phil's got the ball on the other side of the court, and he's not this guy, he's not a football player, like he's a golfer, right?
Not the athletic guy that
guy.
Yeah.
So he's at the other side
he doesn't run to the next hole. He just,
I wouldn't even call it running. This is no disrespect to Phil, by the way. It's just, we all know what our strengths are, and it's incorporated his arms. So anyway, he's got the ball. He's on the other side of the court. He's like, waddle. It's like, I don't want to say waddle, but waddle.
Right. I'm picturing this. Yeah.
And then he gets on the tramp, and he's like, psh. And the guy who played the gorilla was like, and I'm like, did you not see what I just saw? And he's like, it was amazing, right? And I'm like, no, it wasn't amazing. I'm like, think about what you're asking. You're asking to put him on the court in front of an international audience on a live broadcast. ESPN cameras are going to go like this because Phil Mickelson, God forbid, like the 20,000 people roaring, like that's a lot of pressure, And he's like, Felisa, please, trust me, I got this. And I was like, you know what? I said, I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to put my ass on the line for you. And I'm not even going to tell you what to do. I'm going to just let you figure out what the best decision is to do for yourself, for him, and for me and my job. Because if God forbid anything goes wrong and Harvey comes back from Paris and the whole world figures out that Phil hurt himself at the Phoenix Suns game, I'm going down first. We all know that. And he's like, no, I got you, Fleece. I swear I got you. He's like, I'll know what to do. And I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I'm like, what am I doing? So then I called, at that time it was Brian Colangelo, who was the president. And I said, Brian, the gorilla wants to do this with Phil. I said, Harvey said no before. What do you think? And he's like, Felisa, you're the entertainment director, right? And I said, yeah. And he goes, direct the entertainment. I gotta go. Oh God. Oh, what do I do? So then anyway, the game comes. I'm on the headset, as you know, during the game. I'm on the headset.
Mm-hmm.
The video director's like, what's he gonna do? I'm like, I don't know. What? you don't know what he's going to do? I'm like, nope, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Everyone started yelling at me. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just trusting him to figure it out, and I'm going to pray to God. So, the gorilla song was Moni Moni, right?
Uh-huh. Yep. Every time he dunked.
Yeah. So what happens is he does his bit, right? And he created an oversized golf ball. And and I'm like, that's exactly the response I had. I was like, okay, all right.
Okay, good. Thinking outside the box.
Right. Oversized golf ball, not that big, not even as big as a basketball. And he puts it on, like, kind of creates like a chipper, and Bob goes to the other side of the court, and he, runs. Phil chips the ball into the air. Gorilla catches it, dunks it, and I was like, there we go. There we go.
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
And Phil, he goes back to the court where Phil was sitting, whispers something in his ear. I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yep.
And everyone on the headset's just like, Felisa, was great working with you. And next thing you know, he and Phil go out to the other side of the court, pass the ball, waddle, jump, bam, lights go up, everybody's freaking out, the crowd is on their, feet, and I was just like, thank God they did it. It was all over the news. And of course, Monday morning, Harvey's back in the office, and he just like walks past my office, and he stops and he looks at me, and he didn't even smile or anything. And I was like, hi, Harvey. And he just turned around.
He wasn't happy, or he was? What was that his sign of approval, thumbs up, or no?
That was his sign of, you are so lucky that it did not go the way that it could have gone.
Right. And that's good enough right there. Yeah. No, that's so funny, because we were talking the other day about how it's our jobs to push this envelope.
Yeah.
But it's executives' jobs, management job to think of all the risks and everything, but yet take a risk, take a chance and whatever, and say, yeah, okay, do this, but think about it first and whatever. But you guys also look at us like we're a loose cannon half the time.
Well, you guys, mascots, I mean, listen, NBA mascots, which is what my experience is with, because I'm a highly creative person, I loved you guys. I thought you were like, I'm a risk taker too. I don't like being mundane. I don't like being the same as everybody else. I've always liked being different and unique and like out of the box and ahead of the game, right? I still do. That's just my nature. That's how I'm wired. So when I met the mascots and I got to work with them, I was like, oh, these guys are awesome. Until they started pissing me off. But I'm like, no. Like,
I know.
I'm like, you guys, like, I'm here to like champion you, I'm here to get your back and support you. But then
there's some mascots out there though that don't know. I mean, they want to push the envelope, but they want to do it in a way that, there's guys that take the comedy a little bit sideways, where, okay, hey, I'm gonna surprise you with throwing you a basketball,
right.
Like, oh, hey, you weren't looking, that type of thing. But then there's the other mascots that's like aiming at your head when he does that,
Right.
boom, I hit you in the face.
Yeah, there's a lot of mischievous that goes on with you guys. But the one thing that I really admired so much about the mascots of the era that I know is that there was a lot of talent involved. You have to be, people would be like, oh, it's no big deal to run around in a monkey suit. I'm like, bullshit, it's not.
Right.
I watched this guy, and he not only does he doesn't start at the beginning of the game. Like, he's putting on his makeup and he's getting his athletic gear, his spandex, whatever it is that he's trying to work, put on in the suit. He's got to warm up. He's got to get going. And that's prior to the game. That's prior to pregame, because he's going to have pregame appearances that he's got to go visit sweet boxes and sponsor obligations and that sort of thing. So he's working pregame. He's working the whole game. He's working the breaks. He's working during the play, and he's working the breaks. And I mean, it's just nonstop for
And that's not even
3 hours.
And that's not even counting all the practice time or building a prop or getting the costumes together or, pulling these people into practice with you and on and on and on. I always get, hey, so, so you do that. So what else do you do? I'm
Right.
like, oh, you mean like you think this isn't full time? Yeah. Oh, and so, what do you do for your full-time job? Or, geez, does that pay?
Right.
I'm like, yeah. Well, I have to tell you a quick one. I've a quick story about, the whole, I've had a ton of these magic moments. I call them magic moments where you just, you take a chance, you're going out there, it's split second. You just see something happen. It's like, it's like Michael Jordan. Like you don't touch Michael Jordan. You don't talk to Michael Jordan. You don't go near Michael Jordan.
Right.
And this was back when, mascots were still, they're still getting rolling and everything. And they're still, it's still somewhat new. But when I started, it was anything goes. Then it was, wait, we can't let everything go. We have to, now you can't, all kinds of rules came in, and I couldn't stand on the score table anymore, and I couldn't climb on the basket anymore, and you can't mess with the referee, and you can't mess with the player. And anyways, all this stuff came down, but it was still way back when, we had a lot more freedoms. But anyways, like Michael Jordan, don't touch Michael Jordan. Don't go near him. Well, I see him sitting on the court one day, and
You just couldn't help yourself.
I couldn't help myself. He's sitting on the court at the end, the bench is to his right, and he's just sitting at the end of the court, and he's kind of stretching or whatever. He had been on the bicycle over here, and all the security's all around him and everything while he's getting warmed up on the bicycle. This is during the game. And I go, well, he's now sitting over there by himself. He's not on the bench. He's not being guarded. I get to get next to him. So I'm like, go give me a basketball. Go give me a basketball. Telling my assistant, get me a basketball right now. So I go and sit down and with this basketball next to Michael Jordan, but a little ways away. And I'm like, hey, so sitting next to Michael Jordan. And all of a sudden the camera, came off the game. The big screen up there is all of a sudden showing me sitting next to Michael Jordan. And I'm like, I'm on the big screen. Okay. Whatever. Like they're showing this, and I'm going to probably catch some heat for this. And I've got a basketball, and I'm like, okay, well, while I'm up there, I'm going to show everybody what I'm doing. So I roll the basketball behind my back, and I roll it over and to Michael, who's sitting there, and he's like, he kind of looks like, what are you doing? Well, then I pull out a Sharpie, and I'm like, okay. Here, I'm kind of waving it over to him, like, can you sign my basketball? And he's like, oh man, come on. So he just kind of ignores me. So I scoot a little bit closer and a little bit closer. And I'm like, kind of leaning over, like, dude, you better sign my basketball. Finally, he's like, and they're still showing me up there. They're not showing the game at all. Right. Game's still going on. I mean, there's players, like, they're taking the ball goes out of bounds, and they're inballing, they're doing the inbound thing right next to me. Nobody's paying attention to the game at this point. And so I'm thinking, I'm in so much trouble. But at the same time, I'm like, this is great. And he goes, finally he goes, dude, he goes, come on, man. I'll sign it later. I'm like, okay. So I scoot back over, take the ball, and I'm sitting over here for 10 seconds. Scoot back over. I'm like, hey, is it time? Is it time? So I roll the ball back around. I hold the Sharpie out there. Finally, he's like, all right, oh man, I better do this. So he leans over, he signs the basketball right then, and he hands me back the pen. I don't even take the pen. I'm like, I got the basketball signed by Michael Jordan. I'm so excited. I'm shaking. I'm looking at it. And then all of a sudden, bing, timeout. Cameras come around, and I'm like showing the basketball to the camera, to the, I don't know which camera it is. It's a TV camera. And I'm showing it, and they're showing that up on the screen and everything. I run to center court. I'm like, I'm gonna shoot my half court backward shot.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that's priceless.
Yes. So I line up, and I'm like, please hit this. I'm like, you got to do this, man. You got to do this. So I line up. I had so much adrenaline. Boom! I fire that thing as hard as I can over the shot clock.
Oh my God.
I mean, I had so much adrenaline.
Right.
My assistant goes running back into the stands. Luckily, there's an aisle right behind the hoop. And he runs back there like a wide receiver. Catches this thing. I can see it all in slow motion. Catches the ball. I mean, fights, elbows all the way back to the court, sweat running down his face, throws it back to me. I turn around. I don't even line up. I turn around, boom, throw this thing, sink it. Nothing but net.
Nice. That's awesome.
I'm like, he throws it back to me. My assistant throws it back to me. And I take this ball very slowly and hold it up in the air like, anybody want it? Anybody want this? Like, I'm going to give this away. The crowd, I mean, had already gone nuts. But at this point, everyone stands up. Like, I could get that. Everybody on their feet. The whole place standing on their feet, screaming so loud. So I started kind of trotting around like, who wants it? Who wants it? Who wants it? Go right back to center court. Buzzer rings. I boot this thing. Like I punted it into the crowd. Fans just like mobbed where it was coming down. I see this guy come up, grab it, pull it down, and just start wiggling like this, throws it up his shirt. And and then elbows his way out and runs up out of the stands, and he's gone.
That's fantastic.
Oh my gosh, yes. So
I love that. That story just made me so happy. It made my head hurt. I love
magic moments. And afterwards, I get called the next day. I get called in. My boss, have a seat. I'm like, what's up? What'd I do now? He's like, so you just boot this ball into the crowd. I'm like, yeah. That bad? Is that a hell, risk and safety thing or something? He's like, no, I'm that ball, the Michael Jordan ball should have been right here on my desk this morning. I'm like, you're joking, right? He's like, kind of. He's like, I don't know. I would have really.
But that's what I talk about. And I speak about it all the time because like organic, like the best thing to do is find organic circumstances that you can make magical. Like magic won't come from anything that you pre-produce, right? It's like you make a list or plan and God laughs. And it's just like those moments you went in and I treasure that about you and about talented people so much. It's so valuable. Like if I was the owner or president of your team, I would have been like, I am so lucky to have this guy on my team. To think like this, you're a producer. You're not just an athlete. Like you're a performer. You're an athlete. You're a producer. You're thinking about all of these ways of not just from a creative standpoint, but how to execute it. You are, I talk to people about Charlie Chaplin and the silent, comedy and silent performance and how difficult it is. And, in my experience in working with mascots, I've had the three off the top of my head that I can think of. A, working with true professionals and true talent like yourself, right? And which I will always call you forever for the rest of my life with any event that I produce, knowing that you will be my insurance policy. Um, and get it done right.
You're
Then
too kind.
there's the mascots. Well, you think with strategy, right? You and the gorilla, like there's just a certain caliber of talent that just thinks with strategy. They're just not reacting.
That's a very good way to put that, by the way. I
Yeah,
have not been able to explain that very well, and you just nailed that. So
yeah, no, it's all strategic. I mean, you played it all out in your head first, and you kind of went with the, you blew with the wind based on how he would respond. But at the end of the day, you gave it to the fans. You gave it to the fans. As an owner of that team, I'd be like, he's my rock star. That's my guy. And then you have the other kind of mascots who think they're being funny, or they think they're being impressive, and they're not at all. And they think with their ego. You were thinking with your ego. You were thinking about the strategy and the execution and how this is all going to play out, right? I mean, maybe there was some ego involved to help with your confidence, but that wasn't your forefront. And so then there's other guys who just get themselves in trouble. I've worked with mascots that have gotten put in jail, and it's just for stupid stuff. It's not creative, it's not brilliant, it's not impressive, it's just stupid. And then you just work with epic fails. I mean, I have another quick story of, as an executive, when we first started the Phoenix Mercury, I created, at that time, we were just like getting off the tail end of the movie Space Jam, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
Remember Space Jam, there was Lola the Bunny. And Lola the Bunny was like this character, this female character who was super cute, and and she was very female, but she was athletic, right? And
Yeah.
so with WNBA first starting, this is all about women and being strong, athletic human beings. And so I created Galaxy, this mascot Galaxy. Phoenix Mercury, I created Galaxy. So Galaxy, I had some help with some friends of mine. Remember Sports Magic and Universal?
Oh yeah.
So I asked them to help me create this mascot. So we used some people from Universal in Orlando, and we created like this silver wig with a ponytail. And then we created this like electric red unitard. And this girl who played Galaxy was very athletic. I mean, she was a gymnast. So that was my first, I'm going to find a gymnast, right? But at that time in the 90s, it was all about the term raising the roof. Remember raising the roof?
Oh, yeah.
Because she wasn't really much of anything else except a gymnast. Her raising the roof was like, oh my God, get away. Like, I'm like, it's just push up to the sky. No, and it just kind of became comical. But I remember our first
get away.
We did one of our first appearances, community appearances, like with the Boys and Girls Club. And we were in the van going to this appearance, and we had some WNBA players, some Mercury players with us in the van, and they were watching me coach her up. And I'm like, okay, Galaxy, this is what you got to do. You can't talk, you can't scream. I said, but your communication is total body movement. I said, and interaction. So anytime you see anything that could be a prop, you see someone wearing glasses, take their glasses and put it on and then do something funny, or take their hat and put it on and, dance with it or something like that, right? And I'm sitting here trying to coach her up. I'm like, but you are Galaxy. You are a force. You get out there and you show everybody that this is Galaxy and you're here to stay. And
I love that.
Yeah, right? So she flies open she flies open the van door, and we're like, and the WNBA players are like, oh damn, what's this one about to do? She flies out of the van and runs into the crowd, and she's like, and everyone's like, oh, and I'm like, this is Galaxy. She's the Phoenix Mercury mascot, and yada yada, right? First thing she does is she takes someone's Sharpie out of someone's hand, like of a parent's hand, finds a kid and writes a mustache and, a villain beard on this kid's, on like 3 kids' face. And I was like, oh God, I've created a monster. I've created a monster. And she's just going around. I'm like, get the Sharpie out of her hand, get the Sharpie. And then she flies, and there was like a pool, and she runs up the lifeguard and station, and she's on the top, and she's like, and everybody in the pool area, and they're like, yay! Like a costume that's like taking ownership of the lifeguard, right? And so they're like, yay! And then she's like, to the assistant, the person that I have running after her, like a crazy person. She wants the ball. They throw her the ball. She grabs the ball. She puts it over her head, and everyone's like, yay, Phoenix Mercury, right? She takes the ball. She's like radaring, and I'm like, oh God, oh my God, what is she about to do? Boom! Like you said, smack some kid right in the top of his head. He goes down in the water, and I'm like, oh my God, get her off the lifeguard.
No, she hit somebody in the water?
In the water, in the head. I'm like, I'm going to not only get fired, I'm going to get sued. Like, she just get her out of here immediately. And lock it.
What have I done? What have I done? Oh my gosh. It's just things like that. You can't you don't know. You can't teach.
Like when I went to go work, like that was in 97, and I went to go consult the University of Texas Athletic Department years later. This was 4 or 5 years ago, right? And I meet the head of women's athletic. She was the women's athletic director. And she goes, I vetted you. I know who you are, Felisa. She goes, I know you work for the Suns, and you helped create an incredible atmosphere and environment at the Phoenix Mercury. And she's like, I heard I was supposed to ask you about Galaxy.
Oh no, you'll never live that one down. Yeah, that's epic. That's epic.
And that's why it's so important to not just be athletic, but to understand talent and execution and strategy.
Right.
She wasn't thinking at all.
I know. Okay, so what I tell people all the time is, hey, if you're going to be a mascot, first of all, think. But also, take some time and film yourself.
Yeah.
Film yourself.
Yeah.
See yourself.
When
you're raising the roof, you don't want to look like you're pushing somebody away. Exactly. Make sure that the movement that you're doing is the movement you want to,
Yeah, well, and it's interesting from a perception standpoint. And I had a mask, and I tried making her look like a superhero, and then she just, with her silver hair, then became like, get that blonde woman off the court. We don't want her. And I was like, she's not blonde. It's over. This became a whole perception thing, and I was just like, this is just going from bad to worse.
Man.
And I was talking actually just the other day about how the gorilla came to play. Do you know the backstory of the gorilla?
I do, but tell me. Tell everybody.
From what I heard, legend says that somebody hired a singing telegram to a Suns game.
Yep, that's what I've heard.
And this gorilla comes in and starts singing. People think it's a plant and it's a setup, and they loved him. And next thing you know, a gorilla became the mascot of the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah. And
that's an organic moment. That's
right.
An example of an organic.
You have to run with that. Back in the 90s, when the Avalanche came to town, they were new to us, and they were trying to develop different things to do we do a mascot? Do we do things that that will or what traditions can we start or whatever? And then one day one of the guys was I don't know, he was kind of a part-time guy, I guess. He was helping out, and they were playing John Denver's
Rocky Mountain High.
Thank God I'm a Country Boy.
Oh, thank God.
Well, live on the barn, live.
Yeah.
Anyways, he so they shot him like up in the crowd doing something. He was throwing out t-shirts or whatever, but he saw that he was on and he started dancing, and they loved the way he started dancing. And then he threw his arm over a rail like he was riding a horse, and hey, from then on for 10 years, they had, dancing, guy that played the same song, and became huge. But it's those organic moments that, you just can't predict, and you got to run with. So
yeah.
Anyways, but you were telling me.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you know what, speaking of fails or whatever, you were telling me a story the other day about Bulls mascot or something, at an all-star game.
So during All-Star weekend, nobody wanted to work with the mascots because the mascots were always considered to be difficult, high maintenance. They think
prima donnas.
Yeah, they
blah,
think
blah,
they're
blah.
as big as the players. Like they want a green room and they want it filled with sushi and shrimp cocktail and
which we just wanted water.
bottles of water.
Just water would do.
So I volunteered this one year. This was, I think, Washington, D.C. when All-Star was there. And I was like, you know what? I was on the league side at this time. I'm like, I got the mascots. These are my guys. I got them. They'll listen and, I'll keep them behaved. And so first day was great. We all met in the lobby. I don't remember if you were there or not. No, you would.
I don't think I was in that. I don't think I was there for that one.
No, you would have remembered the story. So
yeah.
I was close with Jeff Wolfschlager, at the Bulls. He was the game ops director at the time. And sending out this other guy. He's like, he plays the number 2 suit. And, I'm like, all right, cool. Jeff, I have a lot of respect for Jeff. I know he knows what he's doing. And it was day one. We had everybody in a circle in the lobby of the hotel. And we were like, look, I got you guys. I'm going to get you. I got you water. I got you food. I got you towels. I got you whatever you want. You want protein bar, like, let's do it. You just tell me I'm your girl. Like, I got you, but I need you to get me too. We got to be there for each other because I want you guys to win. I want you to succeed and I want you to have a good experience and I want you to feel valued. Right.
Mm-hmm. Help me help you.
Right. So I'm thinking like, we're good. I think this landscaper is showing up. Hold on one second. We're only doing this for 8 more minutes, right? Hi, Sarah. I'm going to be ready in just 10 minutes, okay? Okay, thanks. I'm just finishing a meeting. Okay, thanks. Anyway, day 2 rolls around, and we show up on time at 8:30 in the morning. Everyone's in place. I was like, oh, they're listening, right? Except one. I'm like, I forgot this guy's name. But I'm like, where's the Bulls mascot? Everyone just... mascots. You guys are like your own brotherhood, right?
Got each other's backs.
it looked as if there was pieces of a bird's wings, like they just ate the bird, right, Tweety? And they're just quiet, and I'm like, all right, you guys, I'm gonna ask you guys this again. I know you know. Just let me know, and we'll work it out. Where's the Chicago Bulls mascot? They're all looking at me, just quiet. And I was just like, oh, this is going to be bad. Next thing you know, I get a phone call from from the game ops director in DC. And I'm looking at everybody, they're looking at me, and I'm like, no, I did not hear what happened to the Bulls mascot last night.
Oh, crap.
What happened? And everyone's just looking at me. And then he told me that he, I think, went to a strip club and then brought some girls back to his hotel, and then they robbed him, and then he wound up like accosting, and then he just wound up in jail. He's in jail. That's all I knew. He was in jail. And I was just like, Jeff, I gotta call Jeff. I was like, why does this need to happen? Like, it's so like This guy has a great opportunity. Gets to work All-Star Weekend. I mean, at that time there were some pretty amazing players involved, and you know,
You know what is there's guys that are crazy in the league and in other leagues, professional mascots that get it. But that's the guy right there that gives us all a bad name
yeah.
and ruins it for the rest of us. And then, yeah, it's
I
just,
was so
you know,
proud of myself too. I was like, I got these guys. Like, I'm gonna make that. Like,
ah,
yeah. But
well, you've always had our backs and you have done so well for yourself since the NBA. You left the NBA,
mhm.
and I want to get into what you're doing now here real quick because before we cut this off, because really, if I want to steer people your way as much as I can, because you're such a professional, you know what you're doing, and you're involved with and know everybody and everything. So you have your own company right now.
You have my own company. I'll just get into it and I'll help you out.
Yes. I
I'll
got a bunch of notes here, but
Yeah.
go.
No worries. I'll plug myself. So I left the NBA in 2008 when the economy crashed after evaluating teams and working on All-Star weekends and production, etc. But I started my own live event production company, as you know, because I feel like
Hmm.
I hired you a
Yep.
few times for
Yep.
a few different events. Major League Lacrosse is one of our clients, and you came into the championship game for us in weekend, and that was a blast. And also I think I hired you during in Seattle when we did
Yep.
the
Spokane
Spokane what was it, Hoop Fest?
Hoop Fest. Yep.
And so yeah, like 500,000 foot traffic over 2 days, and obviously you were once again a big hit.
We were.
And so yeah, but and I've given up and coming mascotters opportunities as well. I don't know if you know this, I think you may, but like when I was consulting the University of Texas Athletic Department, I reached out to our guy, the Coyote in San
Mhm.
Antonio, hired him, had him come in, and as a
Rob Wycall.
Rob,
Yep.
yeah, and he was amazing, and he helped me train and create a mascot program at Texas. And now one of the kids who was just like, when someone's got the it factor, you can see it bright as day.
Right.
And this one student who was amazing and really absorbed everything Rob gave him now works in the mascot department at Spurs. And
That's
it
awesome.
makes me so proud, to give it up like that. But then along the way, I realized when I first left the NBA that I didn't have NBA money or NBA resources. So I started a relationship with UCLA Anderson Business School, and I started hiring and training all of these interns and mentoring them, and just coached them up, turned them into these rock stars, taught them how to be stage managers and producers and directors and deal with TV trucks and NBC and ABC and ESPN and game ops and write scripts and the whole thing, and how to be talent and train talent and work with talent. And and so then we started placing people like this kid at San Antonio Spurs. And I was teaching at UCLA Anderson started about 5 years ago, a high level sports and entertainment class. And then we saw an opportunity, someone who's my business partner, she started with me as an intern now, but her name is Lexi King, and she's my partner. And she was like, Felisa, she saw the class that I was teaching at UCLA, and she goes, since you left the NBA, we've trained and mentored and helped to place upwards of 100 students in the industry. She's like, you know the formula. Let's just, I want to build a business model and pitch it to UCLA and see if they bite. And I was like, all right, let's do it. So she built it, we pitched it, they bit. And I'm proud to say that we have our own professional development program for students who want careers in sports and entertainment and media. And we also have an internship placement program. So we bring in people like experts like yourself, who come into the mix and who teach people like the ins and outs and the do's and don'ts of being talent within a corporate infrastructure, the challenges and the wins of, Michael Jordan stories, and how do you execute and win that moment when that could have been an epic fail, and it could have gotten you fired. You know, it's risks. How do you take strategic risks that translates to rewards, right? And so this is what we're doing now, and it's something that I'm really proud of. And it's just like you said, Felisa, you know everybody, and people say that to me all the time because I just genuinely love relationships and I treasure them. And people say, you know, your network is your net worth, but it's like, that's great if I know everybody, but what do I do with that, you know? And it's like, what do you do with that? You're calling me, and you know, here I am, we're having like an incredible party for an hour online and great memories and just laughing, which we all need. But you know, I want to take all these fantastic people that I've learned and met and acquired along the way in my life and in my journey over 25 plus years, and give back, you know, to the next generation, and teach them work ethic, teach them strategy, you know, teach them how to do the right thing and how to be successful the right way, you know. And I just think that you and I come from a different time where work ethic was really valued, and we took a lot of pride in our work and our professionalism. And things are different now. Things are a lot faster, and they move a lot more quickly. But I like to speak about integrity and the essence of what it's like to do right by people and in the world. So
Well,
yeah, it's called impact. It's called impact.
yes,
So,
and I was just going to say that. So
impactinternship.com. Go to
check
that.
it out.
Yeah, look for my picture.
Yes.
You know you're on the right site.
Yes. I was just going to say, you got to go check this out. You've got all kinds of different areas that you cover in there as well. So I highly advise you to get on board with Felisa here, her programs, get to know her, reach out to her, because honestly, I can say this, she is genuine. And I feel that. I have felt that for years. She really does have a heart for not only what she does, but for other people. You get it. I want to push people your way because you not only get it, but you also help people and have helped people and continue to help people, and you're an innovator and an entrepreneur. And I mean, gosh, what a great person to rub shoulders with. So appreciate our relationship. We have to tell more stories. We have to get together and do this more. We have to, honestly, we got to do this again. So, because we just scratched the surface here.
We're going to do it. As soon as you call me tomorrow after your meeting and say, Felisa, it's a go. I got you. I'm here for you. It's going to happen.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Felisa, I got to wrap this up. You got to get to your landscaper.
My parents are like ringing my doorbell and go in the back.
The lawn, just take care of it. Jeez. You too, Felisa.
It's a freaking tree. Go figure it out. Yes.
I love you, Felisa. You're the best.
Love you more.
All right.
You are the best. You are the best. All right. Look. Look, there's my
they're circling your house. What is that? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Love you, girl.